This is All India Radio. Whispers of the Wind. All India Radio, in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar, presents science serial Whispers of the Wind, based on understanding and managing climate change and global warming. Let's listen to episode number 19, based on listeners' letters.
Hello and a warm welcome to all our listeners. And as your favorite series, Whispers of the Wind, takes a new turn now, I welcome Dr. S. Satpathy, former Director, Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, Dr. Bharat Bhushan, Scientist at Vigyan-Prasar, and of course, Dr. B.K. Tyagi, to this special interactive episode of Whispers of the Wind. Let's begin primarily with a look on what's happening in the world. I mean, just a week or fortnight ago, I read in the papers that major cities in Europe and the US are facing what we have been facing for ages, high rising temperatures.
Yes.
That was something that was out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Dr. Satpathy, I mean, what is happening to the world?
Yes, thank you, Manoj. As on today, if we just go back to the history and just think about the present scenario, at international level, last year, Conference of Party just discussed about the rules and procedures to be adopted for implementation of Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement in 2015, it was a landmark decision at global level to reduce the GHG emission at both developed and developing countries, and take appropriate actions, adaptation actions, to reduce the vulnerability of climate change. And in addition to that, there are several articles to support these two things, like capacity building, then finance, and all these things were there. Presently, you know that USA is taking back foot and they are not ready to accept the principles or the decisions of Paris Agreement.
Very true.
But recently in newspaper it has come also, US President is listening his scientists or something. There are some good news, some mixed news, not bad. What will happen after 2020 we don't know. But as per the provision, it takes 4 years to withdraw from a convention or any international treaty. But keeping aside USA, all other countries are united to take action or to initiate action at global level, at national level, and at subnational level also, to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, at the same time to enhance the ambitions of adaptive actions. And India is proactively working in that line.
But one question, what you say, I'm taking a clue from your question, Manoj. See, like this unprecedented rise of temperature in this particular season in Europe is to what extent can be attributable to the overall phenomena of climate change and global warming? Because when we say about the season, there is a seasonal variability. If we take a period of 10 years, suppose if we take the example of rain in India, sometime the monsoon is there as per time and what we predicted, we are getting rainfall accordingly. Same is in Europe. So do we say that it's a seasonal variability or it can be attributable to climate change and global warming?
You see, recently our DG IMD addressed the same issue in the context of India. That heavy rainfall or no rainfall, this is cyclic phenomena. Last 100 years, there is no deficiency of rain, but deficiency of monsoon rain was there. Similarly, what science is giving evidence that temperature is increasing at global level. The average temperature is increasing. But what your question that in Western countries, cities, the temperature is rising. It is
This time it was unprecedented.
And there are cyclones are there. These are definitely one way because of climate change. But at the same time, climate change doesn't own these things directly. There is no substantial evidence that these are due to climate change. Weather variability is also there. So there is some gap in understanding or to establish linkage. It will take little more time to establish that exact temperature rise or heavy rain or no rain is due to climate change. Like climate change is a long-term phenomenon.
Yeah.
And weather is a short-term phenomenon. We can consider under weather and think, considering the climate change, it might be or it is likely to be.
Okay. I take this opportunity to bring in Dr. Bharat Bhushan also. From the agriculturist's point of view, if I may say so, how does one look at issues like, as we discussed, rise in temperatures or variations in rainfall? And if you try to attribute reasons for that, how does the field of agriculture look at it?
Well, I will take the words of Dr. Satpathy, the climate change and weather variations locally. As we are discussing the weather phenomena, which is locally adaptable. As we are also discussing about the state action plan for climate resilient agriculture and national action plan for climate resilient agriculture. So, as the India is having diverse climatic conditions, so that's why government thought, it's a nation plan is okay. We should consider at the state level plan. And agriculture per se is a very specific input is required for agriculture. So that's why it's very much affected by the climate change, including the weather variability also. So likewise, suppose we are talking about the cropping season. If we are talking about Rabi season, now we are not getting the sufficient chilling temperature for any crop which is grown in the winter season. So duration is shorter. So yield is getting affected.
Okay.
Because of the lower chilling
here,
temperature.
Dr. Bhushan, I would like to, sorry, Manoj, I'm interrupting. Are we ready for that? Because the entire food security, because India is still primarily, I think more than 58% of the entire workforce is associated with agriculture directly or indirectly. So if this thing is happening, like if the sector is being affected so badly by the climate change,
I think we are going to discuss.
what action plan you think is necessary? Especially the whole situation become more complicated when we say we have a different climatic zone. That means for every climatic zone we have a different strategy, either for adaptation or mitigation. Then geographically also we had a Himalayan state, hill state, then the landlocked state and the coastal state. That means like our situation has been more multiplied, with the complications. Because of these factors, added factor, So how you think like we can resolve to the whole thing?
Well, we will understand with a very simple example.
Yeah.
Let's talk about cowpea.
Cowpea means
Lobia.
Lobia. Okay. Yeah.
Let's talk about cowpea. In earlier days, means 10 years back or 15 years back, you might get a crop in 150 days or 170 days from sowing to harvest. That time, the required temperature for the cowpea to set the fruit was sufficient. Due to this phenomenon of climate change or weather variability, we as a scientist understand this long duration cowpea is not going to sustain. So we did research on that. We brought a short duration cowpea variety.
Without affecting the essential nutrition.
Without affecting the
and the productivity?
Production is different. Productivity is, now we are also focusing on the productivity, not on the production. We are now food sufficient.
Self-sufficient.
So now we are talking about productivity increase. Now we are talking about nutrition intake. So these changes are there. So scientists are working on that. The effect of climate change is going to affect the agriculture. We have a short duration cowpea. So now it's going to be harvested in 60 days, even 45 days.
45 days. Yeah, I think there's a beautiful example of Russia. They did it in Siberia when they were growing those wheat.
Okay.
So they developed that early maturing variety. So before the frost or the snowfall, they were able to harvest the crop. So I think those kind of adaptive measures we have to. But Dr. Satpathy, sorry Manoj, I'm so curious to know more about
from the next question.
Yeah.
As soon as you finish.
Because the things are very interesting. See, whenever we say like unprecedented temperature rise, or say this temperature has broken the record of last 15 years or 10 years or 100 years, that means at a certain period of time in the history, we have experienced that temperature. So there is a confusion in the mind of an ordinary person, whether it is because of this unprecedented a rise in temperature or rainfall or no rain because of climate change, or it is a periodic phenomena. Because that's why the whole thing, even when we try to take this argument of climate change and global warming, people have certain doubts in the mind that it has happened like 15 years. Like if you say Delhi temperature 48 or 49 or near 50, which has happened earlier also, somewhere back in the history, maybe 15 or 100 years, because unfortunately the data which we have is only for 100 years. So with this time block, we have to interpret this thing. So how you look at the whole thing then?
See, if we go through the assessment report, AR5, the volume 1, which is physical science, they have also noted the same thing, 98 to 2010.
Yeah.
The 13 years, the temperature went high. And that was due to El Nino effect, what atmospheric scientists they told. Whether it is due to exclusively climate change or weather change or periodical change, it was not confirmed in that scientific report. But overall, all models, what they are projecting, that temperature is gradually increasing. Like by 2021, they are projecting in 4 scenarios, it may go up to 5 or 6 degrees. And they have given 3 scenarios depending on the concentration of greenhouse gas in atmosphere, like RCP 2.6, 4.5, 5.6 or some 6.5, then 8. Based on these scenarios, they have assessed the vulnerability due to rise in temperature or due to irregularities in precipitation. And the vulnerability in different sectors like agriculture, water, all these things. And what he has mentioned also, the soybean, as I mentioned in the earlier session, in Madhya Pradesh, soybean life cycle is 120 days. Now it has come down to 90 days. They have reduced that time period. So these adaptive measures will reduce the risk or the vulnerability of that sector particularly. Because if you take the example of Madhya Pradesh, what I was going through their statistics, their production is increasing. Sowing area is increasing, irrigation land is increasing, irrigation area, whereas vulnerability assessment says water sector is very vulnerable.
Yeah, in a very critical state.
I was just analyzing, when water sector is under threat, how agriculture sector will improve its activity. But as Bharat Bhushan has mentioned, that scientific research, definitely they are adding value to that.
That means they will be coming up with a variety which consume less water.
Yes, certainly.
Or drought-resistant varieties, something like that.
This consumption of water we can take in other way. Precise use of water. Nowhere you're getting the flood irrigation system.
Yes.
So now water harvesting technology or water irrigation technology has improved so much.
Drip irrigation
system is there. So likewise, that irrigated land is getting increased, but there is a water scarcity. The irrigating land is increasing. That doesn't mean that flood irrigation area is increasing. It might be the technological intervention is there, which causes the unit per unit area.
It's a very interesting. I have seen once in an exhibition where this agriculture sector of Israel was presented, and the most amazing part to me was, as a scientist, was that they have calculated, the number of drop required for a plant at a particular stage of its growth, and it all is programmed control, and that plant of a specific crop like tomato and all that, it is getting only that drop of water which
that is called technically critical stage of irrigation.
So I think this is the S&T intervention when we are facing this the contradictory situation. Your productivity is increasing, your cultivation area is increasing, but at the same time you are facing now the criticality of this water as a factor. So I think R&D input has to come into that. That's the only solution.
That's why I have a very fundamental question.
Artificial intelligence in our newspaper.
Yes.
My fundamental question is, are we doing enough to encourage methods like drip irrigation or methods that may have evolved even beyond that now? As you said, artificial intelligence.
Intelligence, yeah,
So are we
yeah.
doing enough? That's my basic curiosity.
I can provide some input that way. Interestingly, the next serial will be on this artificial intelligence, which we are trying to.
Okay.
So in that, there is a discussion paper where this Niti Aayog has organized with the stakeholders, and there was a discussion paper. Agriculture has been identified an area where this AI can, or artificial intelligence can improve the sustainability and productivity, increase the productivity. So these are two core area which has been identified, and I think there is a enough scope. The example which I gave from the Israel, but that can also be implemented, because now most of the agriculture, our government of India is promoting through this greenhouse agriculture, especially in the hill state. I think where we can use that, we can optimize all the input which is required for a crop thing, and to get ensure the maximum output in an efficient way.
I'd like Dr. Bharat Bhushan also to add on to...
Yeah, you asked particularly about drip irrigation system.
Yes, are we doing
Yeah.
enough to encourage that?
Yes, we are doing. Government is also promoting the drip irrigation system. Per drop, more crop.
More crop, yeah.
Yeah, this is the fundamental slogan they are using.
Yeah, slogan.
Present budget also has highlighted zero budget, something like that. Zero budget agriculture.
That is for minimal intervention with the natural system. Zero budget farming, what we call it. So
Fine. That brings us to another turn in the proceedings today, and we'll now look at
Few letters, I think.
the basic purpose of our being here,
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
interacting about people, what they have written. So, Dr. Tyagi, what's there in your inbox today?
Yeah, I think the most interesting letter is from Mr. Ram Bhagat. He is 58 years old farmer, and he is regular listeners to
Where's
our
he writing
program. He is writing from Haryana, Jila Hisar.
Okay.
Dhandi Khan Bahadur, UP, and this is Ram Bhagat, son of Shri Nihal Singh.
That's very
So,
heartwarming to know that
yeah.
a 58-year-old farmer writes into us.
And not only that, whatever the question we are putting at the end of each episode, he has sent the reply for that. And the first question was about this, how the climate change took place. So he has replied that there are the factors which are the geographical region, the hot air, the loo, and the loss of humidity in the air, and the rise in the temperature. These are the indicators of the climate change, and these are also the factors which are responsible for bringing out the climate change and global warming.
Let's first thank him for writing it to us.
And the one indicator of the success of our program is the broad range of listeners,
Very true.
from a very wide range of age group. And the second is, again, it is in question form. I think Dr. Bharat Bhushan and Dr. Satpathy, he's saying first he's thanking the Vigyan-Prasar and All India Radio. He is Siddharth Kumar.
Siddharth Kumar.
Siddharth Kumar. He has not written. Actually, most of our email which we have received, they have not mentioned their postal address. So
Listeners, one small request to you: whenever you send in your letters and email, make sure that you write your name and location, which makes our job easier.
Yeah. So his question is says on one side we are spending a lot of money to conserve or protect the rare species or endangered species. And we are trying to save the forest. We are trying to save the polar habitat. But at the same time, we are, throwing a lot of toxin material as a waste into the seawater. So whatever effort is being on one side, or the things which are being done by the whole international community, is nullify the effort. So why this kind of things happening? Basically, his question is, do we have any regulatory mechanism or enforcement mechanism or any treaty or law which can prevent these people who are doing these kinds of things? Because when we say high sea, open sea, it is a common heritage of mankind. It belongs to everyone. So you are free to do that. But do we have any law, convention or treaty which protect those sea? Anyway, because seas are connected. And if we are doing at one point, it has, impact on some other side. Because the coral reefs are already, leaching out. the acidity of seawater is increasing. So there already, because of this, the pH level of water change has already affected a lot of life form. So what we can do now in this kind of situation? And second, my query is that factor is connected with this climate change and global warming, the pollution of the seawater?
Pollution and climate change impact are two different things.
Are they connected in any way?
I'm just explaining. Whenever we are talking of pollution, marine system is getting polluted through point source and non-point source of pollutants. There are many channels from industry or agriculture fields are entering into the sea, and seawater is getting polluted. It may be chemical, it may be organic load or something like that. And when we are talking of physical quality of water, like pH is decreasing, acidity, all these marine organisms are dying. The climate change science tells that 70% of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is being absorbed by ocean water.
Yes.
That's why the more concentrate we are emitting carbon dioxide to atmosphere, it is absorbed by seawater, and seawater is losing its
pH is changing.
alkalinity, and it is being acidic. And most of the marine species, they are acclimatized to the alkali system. Once it is acidic, means either they are dying or they are adjusting again, or adaptation, that what we are talking, they are adapting to that. And which are not adapting, they are dying. If we consider pollution, yes, pollution aspect is adding some pollutants, whether it is chemical or organic pollutant or inorganic pollutant, definitely marine organisms are getting impacted. And due to climate change, there are two aspects. One is acidic, another is thermal. Seawater is also getting warmed. And sea level rise is different aspect, of course, but the change of the marine environment is due to pollutants and impact of climate change. And for pollution, yes, there is a rule. Act is there in India, Environment Protection Act, Water Rule, all these things are there. But other countries, they do have also similar rules. So far, environmental protection is concerned. But climate action, some countries, around 45 or 47 countries, they have climate change law. But in India, we don't have it. But many things are governed under Environment Protection Act.
Okay. I think, Manoj, now we can take to some of those more letters or the listeners.
Sure. We're not left with much time.
Yeah.
So quickly, can you give us a brief summary of people who've written in?
Yeah. I think the questions which we put at the end of each episode, I think we received reply from many of our listeners. One was definitely this Mr. Ram Bhagat. And the most interesting part was it was on the postcard. Which is not nowadays seen. So that means this postcard is still a mode of communication. And the others through email. And I'm just reading out the name of those people who has been included for getting our special prize, the kit which we have been developed for them. It is Sumit Kumar, he is from Palwal, Haryana, and then Sanjeev Kumar, and then Siddharth Kumar, Vaibhav Shah, Rajkumar, Saurabh Tiwari, Mangal, he is from Hanumangarh, Rajasthan, and Kundan Kumar. Then Satpal, he is from Muradabad, district Muradabad,
There's
Uttar Pradesh.
Sumit Kumar also.
Sumit Kumar I have already there. And then this Hukam Chand, Katyal, and Vikram Singh. These are the people we are including in our this episode, their name for the prize.
So we conclude with sincere thanks to all our listeners.
We can make one more request to our listener. They are sending mail to us. Please do they write their complete postal address.
Of course. And with that, I thank Dr. S. Satpathy, former Director, Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, Dr. Bharat Bhushan, scientist Vigyan-Prasar, and Dr. B.K. Tyagi. Thank you very much for joining us in this discussion.
Thank you, Manoj.
Whispers of the Wind. You are listening to the 19th episode of this science serial produced by All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar based on listeners' letters. presented by Dilip Jha and assisted by Heather Rizvi. Participating experts were Dr. Birendra Kumar Tyagi, Coordinator, Science Serial, Dr. Kumar Bharat Bhushan, Scientist, Vigyan-Prasar, Dr. Sachidanand Satpathy, Ex-Director, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and was moderated by Manoj Mayankar. You can send your letters by simple post. Our address is Science Serial, Whispers of the Wind, Director Vigyan-Prasar, A50 Institutional Area, Sector 62, Noida 201309. You can also write on our email ID, which is radio@vigyanprasar.gov.in. Please do write or mail us your full name, age and profession. If associated with Science Club, do let us know the membership of your club. If you have any query or question, do not hesitate to write to us. We will be back again with the next episode of this science serial, Whispers of the Wind, same day, same time next week. Till then, goodbye.